All rise. Monday, April 8th, 2013.
Come back now on business. I'm the big girl.
South Bend Common Council is now in session. The invocation by Vice President Oliver Davis.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, we thank you so much for being here tonight. We ask for wisdom as we make decisions for the city of South Bend. Thank all of those who have come. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
John Gordy, read the roll.
Marriage counsel, that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Well, don't.
You don't want to? I mean, I'd like to know.
None of your business.
Okay, that's
Here,
right.
Mrs. Shea.
Here.
Here. I didn't, I'm not, you know, I'm fine. I think it's personally. Maybe you can help me with some communication problems.
I don't think I can.
Thank you, Nick. May I have the report from the subcommittee on minutes?
To the Common Council of the City of South Bend, the subcommittee has inspected the minutes of the March 25th, 2013 meeting.
Think about it. We'll get together for a coffee. Okay?
Therefore, we recommend the same be approved. Signed, Derek Peter, David Barr.
Thank you very much. Proceed to special business. Tonight, Mike Schmull will be representing the mayor's office for any questions.
Need a motion to approve?
Oh, yeah, do the minutes, yeah.
Yes, motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor of that?
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you. Also under special business, Dr. Varner will read a letter signed by, well, you can explain that.
A letter from 7 members of the council. It's to Mayor Pete through Mr. Schmull and any interested parties. It's our understanding that a critical decision will be made on Wednesday, April 17th regarding the future management of Century Center. The undersigned South Bend Common Council members believe that a locally managed self-operating model would best serve the overall operations. As operations manager of Century Center, a local entity would provide greater accountability to South Bend taxpayers and perhaps greater transparency. While it is commendable that all entities which have submitted proposals are qualified to provide such management services, we believe that a lack of local component such as mobile spectrum should not be continued. We therefore believe that the brightest future for Century Center is a key player and destination site in downtown South Bend deserves professional local management. Thank you most sincerely. It's signed by 7 members of the council. I'll put that in the record and it'll be. And Mr. Gordy, I believe you have the original, do you not?
Yeah, I've given it to
Thank you, sir. Any motion for that? Or?
No.
All right, let's proceed to Resolution 1328.
a resolution of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, recognizing and honoring the many positive and sustainable contributions made by Pat and B.J. Magley through their creation of Heroes Camp.
Thank you, members of the council. Is it on? Thank you, members of the council, for this opportunity to speak with you. I'm going to ask that Mr. Pat Magley, Patrick Magley, and also Mrs. Magley, please come to the podium with me. I asked Councilmember White also to help me out with this because this is a lot of reading, and you know what it sounds like or what it feels like to read all of these words on this page. I wanted to also recognize these two for their tireless commitment to this city and to this community, especially our youth. I happen to be at Heroes Camp for Steel currently, and not as frequent as I would probably like to be because of other obligations and responsibilities, but I started at the age of 9, actually across the street over there on Jefferson. I don't think we had any heat out there. We was back there balling. I mean, cats had their shirts off. I mean, we had a great time, but there was other things that were going on outside just playing basketball. They were learning life lessons. We were learning about God. We were learning about things that will help us become better men in life. And so when we are coming to talk about conversations about our community, where our youth are headed, how people can be engaged, I think one of the organizations that have lasted the test of time, who has continued to grow as well and has been here for generations, you need to look at Heroes Camp and look at what Heroes Camp has done and has transformed some of the lives of our kids here in this community. I think we sometimes overlook, our tools, our resources here in this community, and this is a tool, a device. It's a great device. It's a great tool, and I think that when we get to talk about youth violence as well, these two individuals really need to be pulled into the table. I don't necessarily need to be there, but individuals like this that have labored tirelessly, sacrificed tirelessly, you can't overlook this. And so I think their record is proven, and I really think that these things need to be looked at in a different way, just to be, fair, but also to honor their commitment and compassion to this community. I'm going to start off first with the first resolution. Again, Councilmember White is going to go ahead and move on to the second resolution as well. Any resolution of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana recognizes and honoring the many positive and sustainable contributions made by Pat and BJ Magley through their creation of Heroes Camp. Whereas the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana acknowledges that in 1989, a tall, lanky, white guy walked up to a group of South Bend street kids and offered a challenge. If any of them could beat him in a game of one-on-one, he would buy them a brand new pair of sneakers of their choosing. The next Saturday, more than 60 inner city youth were waiting outside the jail, ready to school this scrub. In the 300 block of West Jefferson Boulevard of South Indiana, and whereas not a single pair of sneakers had to be bought that day by Pat Magley. He took the time to start meaningful dialogue with these young men that day, where they talked and they shared their feelings, ideas, and identity, leadership, conflict management, hygiene, and respect. And the idea and the concept of Heroes Camp was born. And whereas 24 years later, Pat Magley, a basketball star at LaSalle High School and West Georgia College, and his wife BJ now have 4 gyms where well over 100,000 youth have been enthusiastically participating in Heroes Camp. Pat has become a father figure to so many who do not have a father in their own lives. And you will hear him being called Pops and Dad by the youth participating in Heroes Camp. And whereas the Common Council notes that Pat and BJ Magley have made positive impacts in countless number of youth thanks to their sincere and daring dedication, with their passion being recognized by many, some of which include recognitions in 2013 by Governor Pence, when she received the Torchbearer Award, in 2011 when Governor Mitch Daniels presented them with the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Chairman's Award and the Sam Jones Trailblazers Award. In 2011, when the Heart of the Irish Award was presented to them by the Notre Dame women's basketball team, and the Drum Major Award presented by the former South Bend Mayor, Mayor Stephen J. Lickey. Whereas since 2007, Heroes Camp has operated at 4130 Hickory, where they offer food, clothing, tutoring, counseling, recreation, and free haircuts to 50 to 200 kids per day, and with youth coming in from far as Gary, Detroit, and Florida, in addition to many youth from South Bend and the Michiana area, where they have partnered with Feed the Hungry, Sam's Club, and many local restaurants in order to successfully and compassionately run this family institution. Now therefore, let it resolved by the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana as follows. Section 1. On behalf of the citizens of South Bend, Indiana, the Common Council is proud to publicly recognize, honor, and congratulate Pat and BJ Magley for their vision, dedication, passion in creating Heroes Camp, which is truly a difference by making a difference by providing fatherhood ministry to so many youth, and especially from the fatherless homes. Section 2. The council wishes Pat and BJ Magley and daughter Kelly continued success with Heroes Camp, which can be found on the World Wide Web as www.heroescamp.com, so we can grow in the depth and numbers, continue to offer wisdom and the tools to youth need to go out and live a life of faith and service, all of which is rooted in spiritual principles and infused with a key ingredient all too often missing in today's society, which is love. Section 3. The resolution shall be in full force and effect from after its adoption by the council and its approval by the mayor, and is signed by all 9 council members serving here today. Council, I ask you to vote this in with full acclamation. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's do these together if that works for you.
Yes.
Okay. Clerk Gordy.
1329 reads, the title reads, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, honoring Bobby Magley for her many contributions to the South Bend community and for being a recipient of the Torchbearer Award by the Indiana Commission for Women.
Indeed, it's such an honor and a pleasure to be able to read this resolution. I can recall having BJ as a student at IU South Bend. I've seen her grow and to develop into a wonderful citizen, not only for the city of South Bend, but for the students that they have served and continue to serve during and being part of the Heroes Camp. I don't know where the initial BJ comes from. That's all I know, Bobby by BJ. So again, whereas the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, notes that in 1996, the Indiana General Assembly established the Indiana Commission for Women, ICW, and whereas ICW is charged with assessing the needs of Indiana women and their families and with promoting the full participation of Indiana women in all aspects of society, and whereas ICW created the concept of the Torchbearer Awards to honor the many Hoosier women who have overcome or removed barriers to equality or to whose achievements have contribute to making our state a better place in which to live, work, and raise a family. And whereas the statue Victory, which stands atop the Soldier and Sailors Monument in downtown Indianapolis, was the image selected to represent the Torchbearer Award, with Victory being symbolic of the women honored, and the flame she holds represents the light of our torchbearers have brought to our state and their communities. And whereas on March 6, 2013, in the Indiana Government Center North Building Auditorium in Indianapolis, Indiana, the 2013 Torchbearer Awards program was held. And whereas Bobby B.J. Magley, the wife of Pat Magley, who helped create Heroes Camp with her husband, was one of the 8 women awarded this year's Torchbearer Award. Now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana as follows. Section 1. On behalf of the citizens of South Bend, Indiana, the Common Council is proud to publicly congratulate Bobby B.J. Magley for her continuing positive contributions to the South Bend community and for receiving one of the 8 2013 Torchbearer Awards by the Indiana Commission for Women. Section 2. The Council wishes B.J. and her husband, Pat, for many, many years of continued success as they have dedicated themselves to offering caring help and support to at-risk youth who have the opportunity to realize life-changing experiences at Heroes Camp. Section 3. This resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after its adoption by the Common Council and final approval by the Mayor of the City of South Bend.
Thank you, Councilmember White. Before we turn it over to the council, would anyone like to speak in favor of 1328 or 1329? Seeing that, council.
Move that we adopt both 1328 and 1329 by acclamation.
Second.
All in favor?
Good for you.
Aye. Thank you. Before they come up, Councilmember White, before you come over to the podium.
Mrs. Magley, do you have any comments?
Yes, I would like to have comments. First of all, I want to thank Henry. As he said, he was a Heroes Camper, and that is an incredible success story for him to grow up, graduate, go to college, marry, and sit in a place of authority. We're very, very proud to be acquainted with him as he has come through our ministry. And we're also very happy to see that anybody can break out of any cycle that they find themselves in with the encouragement and love and support. And I want to thank the Common Council and everybody present.
Thank you.
I'm from here, and I love the here that I'm from, and that this is a model city. This is going to be what it's supposed to be, and that's what all of this is working towards. And if faith moves mountains, and I believe that love moves the world. And I really don't know what to do without prayer. Because every situation is unique, and every situation needs to be dealt with like it's unique, and God can tell it. The situation's uniqueness if someone will pray, we can get a revelation. And so I want to thank my mother and father, and my wife's mother and father, and thank my wife that she let me run with all my heart of the Lord. No matter what that cost is. It's the time to get out of bed and go pray at different times and do different things that are real different to get the results that are different. And I think that our nation would be good to slow down so we can see more, rather than try to speed up and act like we saw something. And I'm just grateful to be here today. Mr. Vorty, the Lord bless you, man. So good seeing you. I didn't know I was going to see you today, but I do have a knucklehead anointing. You know, I mean, I attract knuckleheads. And you knew me when I was a knucklehead full time, you know. And I'm also glad to know Lil Henry. Now I call him Lil Henry because that's Big Henry right over here, you know. And so I've been knowing the Davis family a long time, and like I know the White family. I know a lot of your families, and I just love South Bend. I really think it's a model city. I think God is going to get the glory out of this city.
Very nice.
Challenge that day, I guarantee you would have not had to buy new shoes.
Okay, we do not have any reports of city offices. Motion resolved in committee of the whole.
Second.
All in favor of that? Aye. No, we don't do that.
I've asked the president to remain in this seat as we only have two bills that will be before the committee of the whole. I would like to officially call the committee of the whole to order. This is the portion of the council meeting where bills are given a second reading and a public hearing. At this time, I would like to ask City Clerk John Vorty to please give second reading to Bill 13-13.
Public hearing on the bill to vacate the following described property. The alley to be vacated is the first north-south alley east of St. Louis Boulevard from Wayne Street north to the first east-west alley for a distance of 198 feet and a width of 14 feet. Said alley is part of Cottrell's addition to the city of South Bend, Portage Township, St. Diego County, Indiana.
Is there a committee report?
Yes, there is. The Public Works and Property Vacation Committee met this afternoon, and we bring bill number 1313 to the full council with no recommendation.
And could you share the reason why no recommendation?
Yes, the reason why was because that it was stated to us that there was a letter that was sent by one of the persons in the community that would like to present their case tonight.
And I would like to ask Mr. Vorty if he has a copy of that email that was sent to President Derek Dieter to read that so it's part of the record, please.
To me, they're here.
I'm going to have him read for the record. And then we go to the regular process.
From Don Shepmeyer, addressed to Derek Dieter, carbon copy to me. With respect to the request to vacate the north-south east of St. Louis along Zion Church lot, I respectfully ask that any discussion be continued due to the late notification. I have certain concerns about the implications of this and wish to have members of the neighborhood group, the East Bank Village Partnership, aware of what is going on. Thank you, Don Shepmeyer, owner of property adjacent.
Thank you. We'll now go and hear from the petitioner. Once we go directly to the public hearing portion, we're here for those that are in favor and those that are in opposition. And if there is anyone speaking in opposition, then the petitioner will have opportunity to come back and to respond to those concerns. At this time, we ask that you state your name and to give us your address and to give us a summary of the project that is before us at this time.
Good evening. My name is Chet Gamble, 510 Lincoln Way East in Mishawaka. I'm representing Zion United Church of Christ. Zion United Church of Christ, the 21st of this month, will be celebrating its 125th anniversary in the community. and has been a community asset and intends to remain a community asset. The congregation has a building which serves as their primary worship sanctuary building and has a fellowship education building adjacent. The congregation is intending to remove the 1930s era fellowship education building and replace it to the north of their sanctuary building on property that they own with a new handicap accessible youth and fellowship building to replace the building that will be removed. The church owns the property on both sides of the alley that will be vacated. There are no adjacent property owners touching the alley that will be vacated. Everybody within 300 foot, in accordance with the rules of South Bend, was sent a notice informing them of the proposed vacation in a timely fashion as it was sent out by the City of South Bend. The property that is owned by the person who's raised the question is not congruent or touching the alley that's being vacated. The alley that's being vacated has been in use continually for probably 40 or 50 years as part of the alley driveway for the church. The church has the parking lot on the properties on the west side of the block. The church building and education building are on the east side of the block, and there is no distinction between the alley and the parking lot. The reason the vacation is being asked for is to allow for the construction of additional parking for the disabled and the elderly that would take place on the east side of the alley, and therefore this would mitigate having to go for several variances to allow for those parking places to be constructed. The congregation's intention is to proceed with this upon approval tonight and to submit the drawings for the state. We've already had reviews with the building department as far as the location, size, and functionality of the building. I believe that would summarize the process.
Thank you so much. Council members, do you have any questions of the petitioner?
Yes.
Councilmember Davis?
With the need for the ADA, is there large population of your church, or even a smaller population of your church, that's called for the need for them to be able to have this kind of facility?
Yes, sir. As in all congregations, like myself, we're a little bit aging, but the existing building, part of the reason the existing building is being taken down, a new building is being put up, is because it has stairways and about 5 levels, and it's hard for people to navigate. And so the new building is to be an at-grade building with a drop-off, and that's part of the reason for the alley vacation, so that persons can get into the building without having to maneuver steps. And also, it's a city ordinance that the new building would have accessible parking places and a state requirement for the building permit. So we're compelled from the new building to provide these spaces as well as for some community service.
Okay, well, thank you.
Councilmember Shade and Councilmember Furlick.
So when I think of Zion Church, I think of the two buildings. There's the historical church where I think, are your Sunday services held in that building?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
That's okay. I didn't want
The historical building is the building that will remain. The building that's to the south, which is the 3-story building that's kind of aged, that's the building that will be taken down and will be replaced now.
The building that has, it's a bit of like a theater, or there's a stage?
There is a stage in the basement that you can't get to, yeah.
Okay, so you're taking that whole building down?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Councilmember Furlick.
How old is the existing building that you're going to take down?
Boy, 1930s.
And what's the investment of the new building?
The new building would be over $500,000. It would take more than $500,000 to fix the roof and tuck point the existing building, and we still have about 5 different levels to try to maneuver because it's not a good layout to put an elevator in.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are there any other questions from council members? Councilmember Davis?
There was something that our attorney raised regarding some of the state rules.
Yes, sir. The city engineer had asked that a triangular portion of the church lot be provided where the north-south alley that's being vacated intersects the east-west alley. And of course, a surveyor will write that description, and that will be turned over to the city, but we thought it would be premature to do that until we had your approvals.
Does that have to be written into our agreement?
No, as long as, Mr. Gamble, you have committed to do that if the council takes favorable action this evening.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct? Okay, thank you.
And that means you didn't have to do anything, right? Just the statement. Okay.
Are there any other questions that council members or attorney might have? Seeing none, we'll now move to the public hearing portion. Is there anyone present wishing to speak in support of Bill 13-13? If so, we ask that you come to the podium, state your name and address. Those wishing to speak in support at this time.
Okay, come on. Okay.
Or you can take the mic. Thank you. Thank you. My name is Judy Waldo, and I happen to live in Mishawaka, but I go to church at Zion United Church of Christ in South Bend. And I don't think I need to say too much to you. You can look at me and know why I am so excited to have a ground level building that I can participate in all the activities of the congregation. And I just ask that you consider the handicap ordinances and please approve so that I may have a parking space. Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in support of this bill? We ask that you come to the podium now. Seeing no one, is there anyone present wishing to speak in opposition? We do ask you come to the podium, state your name and address, please.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Don Scheffmeyer. I'm at 300 South St. Louis Boulevard. I don't have any particular objection depending on what the use is going to be in the future. This alley's been there forever. Zion Church has been there for 130 years or thereabouts. They're a great member of the community. And as a matter of fact, our neighborhood association has our meetings in the lower level of their fellowship hall. And they do have a chair that goes up and down to get people on the lower level, but it's certainly probably time for them to get a new hall. I have no objection to that. My objection is that I don't believe I've seen any plan as to what their use is going to be and where it's going to be. And let me be very specific. About a year and a half ago or thereabouts, maybe 2 years ago, I came before the council and I went through a long, involved process through about 4 or 5 different levels to get the building that I own at the corner of St. Louis and Jefferson, which has been vacant now for about 4 or 5 years, across from Barnaby's. I got it zoned so that you could put a restaurant and a bar in there. At the time, I had Mark McDonald teed up to do the bar and restaurant. And we had spent a considerable amount of money on plans and hoped to move forward. The city had planned to redo the streetscaping on both sides of Jefferson, increase parking, all the way going back toward the bridge. Now here's my real concern. I have absolutely no axe to grind with the church whatsoever on what they'd like to do. But here's what could happen. They build this new fellowship hall, and they put this closer than the 300 feet. I'm a little further than 300 feet away from that church. That triggers the possibility that I can't get a liquor license, which means I have very little chance of getting a restaurant in that property. I'm negotiating with 3 different people right now. This is no different, in my opinion, than moving my building close to the church. If they increase the size, and really it's not the church they're increasing, it's their fellowship hall, I'm caught in the conundrum of this zoning issue. As a matter of fact, my building is now in the new riverfront district. Obviously, when the Department of Economic Development looked at the town and looked at the appropriate uses going forward in attempting to attract new people to South Bend, young people to South Bend. Young people, as we all know from Lori Volk, who came and spoke 2 different times to us here last week, young people like to have fun. And one of the places they like to go is neighborhood taverns and bars. We're trying to get townhouses. We're trying to get new housing in the area. And it would be, I think, counterproductive to get caught in this kind of a trap. So, provided that the church is willing to say that they will not object and that we can get this passed, if I can improve my property the way that I want to, the way that it was all set to go the last time when it was unanimously approved by the council, even though the church objected on no reasonable grounds, because they thought there might be a beer bottle in their parking lot from time to time, then I have no objection to them going forward with this. So if there's some way, the city attorney, you can come up with a document that will not trigger me not being able to develop my property as contemplated, I have no objection to this. Otherwise, I do have an objection to it, because I see no reason for them to take over parking on an alley. There's plenty of parking they've got there. There's parking on both sides of the streets on St. Peter. There's parking on both sides of the streets on Wayne Street. There's parking on Jefferson. And they've got a big lot. And they own that whole strip all the way out to Jefferson. Well, I think that our ordinance with respect to some of these things is sort of medieval. And that's what I want to bring before you tonight. I just don't think it's fair. Thank you.
Is there anyone else present wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing no one, the public hearing portion is now closed. I'm going to ask the petitioner to come and to respond. So you have 5 minutes to respond to the issues that were just raised, and I'm going to ask our attorney for direction as well.
Well, I can't respond to the congregation as far as to what the congregation would want to sign off in the future. I can only state the following. The building is intended to be put on property that's presently owned and presently allowed zoning for the church. So allowing for this building to be built does not kick in the 300-foot rule any more than it did before. It's already on existing property that's not being asked to be extended. As far as the use of the area as a drive, it's the parking lot layout has been laid out to show the building, the drive portion of it to continue to be used, which obviously is not the item in question. The item in question is will there be enough parking places for future development of a restaurant to the north, which is not part of what I believe we're here to discuss this evening. We're here to discuss the church using their own property that is property zoned for its own fit use, and this alley vacation will not kick into affect anything that have to do with that zoning in the future, as I understand, because it's already on their own property. So I don't have a rebuttal other than to point out that clearly.
Thank you. We'll now move to the council portion. At this time, I'm going to go straight down, and then I'm going to ask the council attorney for some legal advice regarding making sure that the issue of the parking can be addressed.
Perhaps my comments should come
Okay,
first.
no problem.
One of the tests, the city council has a 4-pronged test to look at. And the very first one is whether the proposed vacation would hinder the growth or orderly development of the neighborhood. And what Mr. Sheffmeyer has raised appears to fall within that prong. I do not know the answer to the question with regard to the footage requirements, whether it goes to the actual footprint of the church or the footprint of the entire property that the church owns.
It goes to the footprint of the property.
And that's what I am assuming. However, in light of the question that has been raised, and since this is now new information that was not shared with the council prior to this meeting, unless a council member was privy to that, I would request the petitioner, since you mentioned in the committee meeting that you might have a little bit of a window, if we could have the possibility of continuing this to our next meeting on the 22nd, a 2-week continuance, so that all of these issues can be properly addressed. Because the city administration also plays a role in this overall decision. with regard to the issues that Mr. Scheffmeyer has raised. But it is my legal opinion that right now there is at least probable cause with regard to a concern of the first prong of the test. And I think giving the council an additional 2 weeks will give us the wherewithal to do more due diligence on our part. And so I, on behalf of the council, would make that as a request.
At this time, I'm going to allow the council, any members that would like to make any comments, but I would like for the petitioner to come back to the podium, and based on what you just heard from our council attorney, would you be willing to continue to our next meeting? He still would be within the time frame.
No, at this point, because there is a very short window of 30 days, the council would either have to vote up or vote down the action tonight if the petitioner is not willing to continue.
But if he's willing to continue?
Yes, at that point, that would toll the 30-day requirement to allow us that additional time.
Well, we see no reason, I would see no reason to not allow you for the continuance for what you're asking for. And as to the other matters, that will be up to the council, but the church is not here, we're not creating or taking away parking places, whether a property to the north can or can't be a restaurant, will have to go on its own merits, whether it can provide the parking for the city ordinance, not count on the church parking lot.
We appreciate your willingness to do that.
Thank you, sir.
Since the petitioner has indicated that he'll be willing to continue this particular project until the next council meeting, which will allow not only our legal counsel, but also to have conversation with the administration and with zoning and other departments to ensure that when this comes back to us in 2 weeks, we have the best possible, project that we can. So at this time, we'd like to entertain a motion.
Motion to 1313?
Is it second?
Second.
Until
22nd, I believe.
until April 22nd.
Okay, has this been moved and seconded?
Can we make a comment before, or no, or we have to do it?
I'll allow you to at this point. There's a motion on the table that's been seconded.
Yeah.
What calls for question?
I yield to the president. He wants to go first before B. Go ahead.
I tell you what, since I'm in charge of this meeting, I'm going to go straight down the road. Gavin?
Are we voting?
Councilmember Gavin, you have any comments?
Oh, no.
Councilmember Davis?
Only comment I had, in light of what happened in 2009, in terms of when Mr. Scheffmeyer, when he was working on the project, I cannot recall, did the church actively challenge any issue with that, or did they not? I'm trying to figure out.
I cannot respond.
Pardon me?
There were some concerns that were raised.
I remember, I was trying to sit here and think, I was here that night, I just couldn't, I'm sorry.
It had anything to do with the parking.
Pardon me?
Other
It had
issues.
nothing to do with the parking.
And we have the record too. I would ask that we'll pull the record so you have that.
Well, the only reason I raised that is in the meantime, I would just like to, if there was some way that the two parties, I know our legal team has to get together, but if there's some other things that you all could talk among yourselves, you share the building with them for your neighborhood meetings and everything else, if you all could just talk among yourselves and see that, so if this thing is passed, that flipping around a few months from now when something comes up, that it won't be the kind of opposition that you will look at. If y'all just have some kind of, that's all. Thank you.
Councilmember Warner?
Yeah, I want to make it clear to both parties, the issue is not parking, the issue is economic. And it needs to be clear to both parties going in that that's the issue. I think it needs to be a matter of record that we did approve the alcohol license for a restaurant in 2009 with the best intentions. I believe a letter from the congregation or minister or an agent of the congregation agreeing to would solve this problem, would it? Yes, sir?
I would prefer the continuance.
Yes, please.
Well, no, I'm not talking about tonight, but they would take a letter.
Yes.
Would solve that with regard to concern. So, it's not hard to do. All you have to do is get together and do it.
I agree with you.
If both parties are willing to do, and I hope they will.
Me too.
I'd like to see both parties successful in their endeavor.
Councilmember Jeter?
Thank you, Chairperson White. I would ask and make sure that Clerk Vorty gets all the questions that Mr. Scheffmeyer brought up, so they can either go to our attorney or Mark Lyons or back to all parties, so
We know exactly what the concerns were, so nothing slips through. Once this comes back to us, that everything that you brought up and Mr. Schaffmeyer, we all know, we have it in front of us, we have all the legal. So if Clerk Morty could make sure he gets that to everybody, that would be appreciated, so we have a win-win.
Thank you. Councilmember Furley?
I second Dr. Varner's perspective. Both initiatives are great. $500,000 building creates a lot of jobs. Don's idea is will create jobs and economy for the East Bank, which we all want. So I think that Dr. Varner's suggestion of both you getting together and solving this would be the solution.
Councilmember Shea?
Thank you. I will second Dr. Varner's statement and Derek's statements as well.
Dr. Derek?
Councilman Henry Davis, any comments?
Thank you. Just one question. There is a law that was just considered to be potentially archaic, and the law, I guess, it has to do how many feet is a establishment sells liquor away from obviously a house of worship. I would just like to look over that law. I don't know where that law is at. I've heard of it before, and it's the second time I've heard this in the last couple of months. So I'm just interested in seeing that law. Is that an Indiana state law or municipal law?
We'll make sure that that's part of the research.
Is that what
we both address it. Both the cities.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Councilmember Scott?
Cooperation is definitely needed. I can't say anything more than what you guys have said. We live in an urban environment. We work and we pray. And in an urban environment, we have to give a little and give a little. So I hope you guys work this out, because growth is not only, we always think about it in the business world. We talk about economic growth a lot, but we also have spiritual growth. And to be able to expand that growth at a church is always good. More people, more congregation. So I hope you guys really work this out together so you both can win.
Thank you. Yes, we have a motion and we have received a second. All those in favor of the motion, may I hear you vote? Aye. Those opposed, the motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll make sure that both petitioner and others will have a copy of the questions, concerns, and so we can move forward. We appreciate your willingness to work together.
I'd like to make a motion to continue 9:13 to 5:13. Second.
So it's moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion? Aye. Those opposed, the motion carries. Mr. Boyd, will you please give second reading to Bill 12-13?
Third reading on a bill of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, concerning the refunding of outstanding sewage works revenue bonds of 1998 and sewage works revenue bonds of 2004, each issued to finance construction of improvements to the municipal sewage works of the City of South Bend, Indiana. Authorizing the issuance of revenue bonds for such purpose in the principal amount not to exceed $15,075,000, addressing other matters connected therewith, including the issuance of notes in anticipation of bonds and repealing ordinances inconsistent herewith.
Is there a committee report?
Yes, Madam Chair. The Utilities Committee met earlier this afternoon and sends Bill 1213 to full council with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. We'll ask the petitioners to come before the council to state your name and address and to give us a brief summary of Bill 12-13.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. Bill Cassandra from Barnes & Thornburg, 100 North Michigan Street, South Bend. The bond ordinance that is before you is simply a refunding bond ordinance. It addresses refinancing the 1998 sewage works bonds and the 2004 sewage works bonds. The amount, as read, is not to exceed $15,075,000. That's all of the bond proceeds that will be necessary. There will also be a considerable amount of cash reserve, debt service reserve funds that will be made available from the existing bonds that will also be contributed towards the refinancing, including as well dollars that are in the bond and interest account of those two respective bond issues currently that will be applied to the refund. It is anticipated that this refinancing will be at a rate of less than 2%. It is being negotiated with PNC Bank, and that it will not result in any extension of the final maturity of the existing bonds. The existing bond, the final maturity of the 2004s is December of 2024. The final maturity of these refinancing bonds will be December of 2024. The overall savings on a cash flow basis, incorporating that debt service reserve, those debt service reserve funds that are available, would be a net present value savings to the city and the sewage works of $4,486,000 in debt service to debt service comparison. When you include the dollars that are being included from these debt service reserve funds that I will note are not available to the sewage works currently, that would be a savings of just under $1 million on a present value savings basis. Happy to answer any other questions you may have with regard to financing.
Council members, do you have any questions? Thank you. At this time, I don't know if there's other individuals who are part of the overall formal presentation.
If there are questions of any other city members, Eric Horvath, Public Works Director, is in attendance, as is John Murphy from the Finance Department.
Thank you. We'll now move to the public hearing portion. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak in support of Bill 12-13? Anyone would like to come to speak in favor of this particular bill? Seeing no one, is there anyone present wishing to speak in opposition? Again, I see no one. The public hearing portion is now closed.
In favor of recommendation. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion, may I hear your vote? Aye. Those opposed, the motion carries. Bill 12-13 will be sent to the full council with a favorable recommendation. I will now like to entertain a motion to rise from the committee of the whole and report back to the full council. We have a motion, and it's been seconded. All those in favor of the motion, may I hear your vote? Aye. Those opposed, the motion carries.
Full council is now in session. Clerk Vorty, third reading of 12-13.
President Jeter, may I, really quick, please? And I've said this before, and I don't mean any harm. Can we slow down? Please. Karen was not even finished with her motion, and it was a second already done. We're being recorded. People are watching us. It doesn't look good.
Well, we could go into what doesn't look good at another time on a lot of things, but we're going to continue with what we've done.
Sleep back to me about
Clerk Vorty,
let's go.
13-12. I mean, 12-13.
Professionalism.
Third reading on a bill of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, concerning the refunding of outstanding sewage works revenue bonds of 1998 and sewage works revenue bonds of 2004. Each issued to finance construction of improvements to the municipal sewage works of the City of South Bend, Indiana, authorizing the issuance of revenue bonds for such purpose and the principal amount not to exceed $15,075,000, addressing other matters connected therewith, including the issuance of notes in anticipation of bonds and repealing ordinances inconsistent herewith.
I move for the passage of Bill 12-13.
Second. Clerk Vorty.
Mr. Scott.
Aye.
Mr. Henry Davis.
Aye.
Mrs. Shea.
Aye.
Dr. Furley.
Aye.
Dr. Varner.
Aye.
Vice President Oliver Davis.
On the second.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Mr. Hurley.
Aye.
President Peters.
Aye.
Process.
9-0.
Thank you. Resolution, let's go to 13-24.
A resolution of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, approving a petition of the South Bend Board of Zoning Appeals for the property located at 1047 Lincoln Way East.
Thank you. Committee report.
Zoning Annexation Committee met today and sends the full council a favorable
Thank
recommendation.
you. Mr. Lyons.
Mark Lyons of the Building Department. This is given the public hearing at the March 6, 2013 meeting of the Area Board of Zoning Appeals. Is a special exception request to allow a manufacturing retailer at 1047 Lincoln Way East. For point of reference, that's the old VFW on Lincoln Way right before you cross under the viaduct. The manufacturing retailer is for a brew pub. They need a special use to be able to manufacture the product at that location. It comes to you with an unanimous favorable recommendation. To answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Lyons?
No.
Presenter, please. Need your name and address for the record, and fire away.
My name is Sean Meehan, 2416 River Avenue in Mishawaka, Indiana.
Andrew Walton, 26559 State Road 2, South.
We come before you to seek a special exception for the local business zone at 1047 Lincoln Way East for purpose of microbrewery and brew pub. As Mr. Lyons indicated, we were approved for a favorable recommendation from the area zoning board on March 6th, and we're looking to answer any questions the council might have.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the council? Thank you. Anyone like to speak in favor? Anyone in opposition? Council recommendation.
Move for the adoption of bill number 1324.
Second. Clerk Woody.
Mr. Henry Davis. Aye. Mrs. Shea.
Aye.
Dr. Furlick.
Aye.
Dr. Varner.
Aye.
Vice President Davis.
Aye. Good.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Mr. Furlick.
Aye.
Mr. Scott.
Aye.
And President Davis.
Aye.
9 ayes.
1330, please.
A resolution of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana regarding the setting of a public hearing on a lease for the construction and equipping of a fire station and fire safety training facility, authorizing the publication of a notice of the same, and regarding certain related matters.
Thank you. Committee.
Yes, the Health and Public Safety Committee held a public hearing and committee meeting on Bill 13-30, and we send this bill to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you very much. Presenter.
Ladies and gentlemen of the council, my name is Stephen Cox, Fire Chief of the South Bend Fire Department, 1222 South Michigan Street. We're before you at this point to request recommendation to pass Resolution 1330 for financing for the Fire Department training facility and new fire station number 5. I also have with me Mr. Randy Rampolla, who can give details in regards to the financing piece.
Randy Rampolo at Baker Daniels, 202 South Michigan Street. The purpose of the resolution again is to set a public hearing for the lease to provide for the financing of the fire station replacement and the new fire safety training facility. The lease would have a maximum term of 21 years and a maximum lease rental of $561,000. Both of those maximums would be reduced following the sale of the bonds. The lease rentals would be payable by the city from the EMS funds available from the EMS fund, and in lieu of that, if there were ever a shortfall, the lease would provide for a tax backup with the EMS funds to be used to be paying the lease rental. The tax backup would only be used in an unlikely event that the funds weren't sufficient, primarily to provide for the sale of the bonds at a much lower interest rate than we could sell the bonds with EMS funds with the only amount pledged. You have to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Thank you. Anyone like to speak in favor of this? Anyone in opposition? Council.
Move for the adoption of Bill 1330.
Second. 40.
Mrs. Shea.
Aye.
Dr. Furlick.
Aye.
Dr. Varner.
Aye.
Vice President Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Mr. Furlick.
Aye.
Mr. Scott.
Aye.
Mr. Henry Davis. President Davis.
Aye.
9 ayes.
First reading of 1513, please.
First reading on a bill to vacate the following described property. The street to be vacated is Assumption Drive that loops from Locust Road. This loop street is approximately 1,750 feet around from Locust Road to Locust Road and has a width of 50 feet. Said street was dedicated to the city of South Bend, Portage Township, St. Joseph County, Indiana.
Move that 1513 be set to the Public Works and Property Vacation Committee, be set for second, third reading and public hearing on 422.
Second.
We have a motion to second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? 1316.
1613.
First reading on the bill amending the zoning ordinance and requesting a special exception for property located at 3529 and 3527 Western Avenue, South Bend, Indiana, 46619, Councilmanic District 2 in the city of South Bend, Indiana.
I move that this bill be sent to aerial plan.
Second.
We have a motion to second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you. 1713.
First reading of the city of South Bend, Indiana Common Council approving and authorizing the execution of a lease for the construction and equipping of a new fire station and a new fire safety training center and regarding certain related matters.
Well, I believe 1713 is supposed to go out for public safety and personal and finance.
Health and public safety.
Health and public safety.
Second.
422.
Second.
We have a motion, a second on that one. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you. Any unfinished business before the council at this time?
Just in terms of the fact that we will continually be monitoring the ethanol plant situation with New Energy. This afternoon we heard a report from the city attorney regarding the updates and the maintenance of the site that used to be the New Energy plant. And once we get that in writing, she said she'll submit that to writing. We'll send that out to everybody and send a copy to Clerk Javotti so that would be part of the record, so everybody would know, and to the neighbors out there.
Okay, thank you. Any new business before the council at this time?
Yes, President Deere. Looking at next Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, we're going to be looking over a couple of series of bills that I proposed in efforts to get some type of understanding on this new vacant housing plan. Be aware that I will be sending out an email tomorrow addressing some of the concerns that I've heard, but also trying to give an understanding of where I'm going or trying to go with you on this particular council conversation on Wednesday. So just FYI, pay attention to your email, and I'll be getting some things over to you so that you can understand exactly what is being proposed, because there is a one and a two plan approach. The second one obviously is not part of your packet, but more so along with the lines of doing a partnership with a couple of different organizations in the community to help out with Plan 1, which is the one that you already have. So just pay attention to your email. The other deal is that I wanted to, I have some concerns right now, and it's a way of council priorities and what has been listed or what has been stated or what has not been stated or listed. I'm just really interested in trying to figure out, as a council body of 9, not individually, but as a body of 9, where our priorities lie when it comes to doing our business, not only during budget session, but always our priorities. And what I mean by is that if there are some things that are not going well per the administration requests of funding or policy actions, how do we stand as a council and make sure that those things are being addressed in a way that is helpful for the residents and the community of South Bend. I think we've had a spirited conversation earlier today about the Chamber of Commerce's business with the city of South Bend and how that is either a worker for us or not working for us. But how do we continue to fund practices that potentially are harming us or hurting us in the long run? And in efforts to match up to a list of priorities that we do have or we don't have. Also, I've noticed that there is an opportunity for each council member, which I think is great, to go on WNDU to speak on councilmatic matters. However, I don't know if that positions the council more so in a good light, given the fact that the mayor already has his time on the news and allowing him on his time on the news. But at the same time, we are allowed, when those policies come down from the 14th floor, what is our position rather than individualized conversations that we may particularly have on the news. Again, I don't have any problem with anyone being on the news. Certainly I do not. But what I'm getting at is that there may be an opportunity for us to begin to jail, to look at policies that we would like to see happen for our districts, for our given areas before the city of South Bend, so that we move further. So my concern is when do we sit down as a council and address the priorities that we need? And I'm not just talking about during budget time and things are just shifted and thrown out the window, but as a requirement for us to move and do business as we are supposed to do, but for the betterment of the residents in the city of South Bend.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other new business? In response to Councilman David said, I will put a email out to everybody and probably put a date of next Monday to send what everyone considers their priorities, and then we'll put that packet together and give it to everybody for some input. Then if we need to have a special night to discuss that, we'll do that. Like Councilman Davis has said, I put out an email. Everybody has the opportunity to appear. Another media site may also give a council member the opportunity to come in to speak about your district, what's going on in your district, so on and so forth. And that contact person is listed. Tim Scott was on, I believe, this morning. So hopefully every council member take advantage of that media opportunity. Privilege of the floor. Anyone who wants to speak to this council this time on anything we did not cover, you may do so. If there's something specific that you want followed up, I believe Clerk Vordy will run that desk. There is a sheet. Make sure you fill that out if you want someone from this council to follow up on a particular thing that you're talking about. If you want to just come up and speak and vent, that's fine, but if you want something for this council to follow up on, you must fill out a form. You'll have 3 minutes. I'll give you a 1-minute exit.
Thank you. My name is Bill Sykes. I live at 18927 Garden Road. First of all, I'd like to say, in light of the events that happened today at South Bend Animal Care and Control, this letter might be a little bit anticlimactic. And before I read this letter, it's from Candy Huffman. She asked me to come up here and read it. I would like to say, one man does not define a job place or an organization. It is the people that work in that situation that are willing to accept orders and do things that they know are wrong. So it's not just one man that is totally responsible. With that, I ran into an old friend of mine, Candy Hoffman, the other night, and she related this story to me. Okay, my name is Candy Hoffman. I wrote this letter for Bill Sykes to read for me on my behalf. Approximately 6 months ago, I wanted to adopt a beautiful gentle puppy. His breed was that of a Rottweiler. I visited him daily, and I became quite fond of him and wanted him to be a companion to my family and my pet, Tank. He is a male English bulldog who needs a friend, and the puppy, Rot, was the one for us. And the lady at the counter at South Animal Control said to me, my application is first, and I would take him home as soon as the gentleman who does the adoptions comes back from being on vacation, Mike Fry. So every day I went to South Animal Care and Control daily to visit him. The following week rolled around and I came to the shelter expecting to take him home that day, to just get there to find out the man put the puppy to sleep. He was a baby, approximately 5 to 6 months old, not aggressive in any way. I live in a nice home in the country on 12 acres of land, and 5 acres that surrounds my home is fenced and secure. The lady at the counter only said he was put to sleep and there was a mistake in the paperwork. This is me speaking. How do you make a mistake and put a 5-month-old puppy down? What kind of mistake is that?
1 minute, sir.
Okay. So an innocent puppy was killed for no reason when he was already being adopted by me and my family. I feel strongly he was put to sleep because of his breed, and that's not fair. A little puppy killed for being a gentle giant. There's no bad pet, only bad pet owners. And being killed because you were born a Rottweiler, come on, what is wrong with them at South Animal Care and Control to do such a cruel thing? My 12-year-old little girl took it bad, and it is so hard to explain to the little girl why we cannot take the puppy home that day. And then some people, it's hard to read this. How can people be so cruel to our animals, the ones that are there supposing to protect them? You should look into this matter. Thank you, Candy Huffman. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Barbara Jewell, 821 Gardner Avenue in South Bend. Ladies and gentlemen, In the mid-1980s, I was the Convention and Tourism Coordinator at the St. Joseph County Chamber of Commerce. During that time, there were 5 of the world's largest events that took place in South Bend and at the University of Notre Dame. These were AYOP, or America's Youth on Parade, the RV Show, Winnie Watson's Play Collectors Club, the Wally Byam Caravan Club, and the Studebaker Drivers Club. While at the Chamber, it was stated for every dollar spent in our community, there was a domino effect of 8. Recently, when I called the Chamber, I was told that they state there is now a domino effect of 7 for every new dollar spent in our community. That has a tremendous effect on what happens here. It affects many people and businesses. In essence, every event held within our community brings dollars, new dollars, into our area. Century Center is a beautiful building that has the capacity to bring in large amounts of income to our community. Last Friday, South Bend Tribune ran an article stating that the Board of Public Works on Thursday recommended S&G, a company based out of Philadelphia, to be awarded the contract to manage and operate Century Center. They were one of 3 vendors vying for the position as manager. Astoundingly, Global Spectrum, the previous manager, also out of Philadelphia, was one of the 3. The other vendor was South Bend Hospitality. What was so shocking was that Global Spectrum wanted to continue to manage Century Center. In 2006, Global Spectrum was hired to replace Brian Hedman, the long-standing Century Center
1 minute,
manager who was retiring. During that time, Global Spectrum was in charge of Century Center, and according to the report put out by ICOM, a report paper for redevelopment monies, there were devastating losses of over $1 million a year. Having worked as a Convention Tourism Coordinator, and having a close relationship with many of the events that took place at Century Center, I was devastated to know Global Spectrum was allowed to lose these massive amounts of monies and not called on the carpet before the contract was up. Did you say it's up?
Nope, you got 20 seconds.
Okay. To realize they had the audacity to put their name in to continue as managers of Century Center is beyond words. Apparently they have no shame in the fact that they have cost our community millions of dollars. It has been reported to me by a council member that Global Spectrum was relying on the hotel-motel tax to pay their bills entirely.
Now your time is up.
Okay. I have a copy of what I was going to say for each member, and I would like it also to be entered into the records, please.
Okay, thank you.
Derek, can I give her a 30-second extension?
No comments.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Mr. Martino.
Here's what she has to say.
Good evening, members of the council. My name is Josiah Martino. I live at 1013 West Rose Street, South Bend, Indiana, 46616. I have a concerned situation regarding
Thanks, Johnny, giving the blank one.
the city of South Bend. Several times there seems to be a crossover between county, what is deemed county in terms of taxes, and what is deemed city in terms of municipalities. However, they end up on one tax bill, which then is called the county tax bill. If there are discrepancies on those, or refunds that are due, or appeals that were filed, been told on several occasions from city offices to deal with the county, and from county offices such as the assessor and the treasurer to deal with the city. However, as a citizen and also a director of a 501c3 charitable organization, seeking legal counsel and retaining an attorney to go back and forth to figure out the process gets very costly. And I'm just wondering if there's anything that a citizen or that members of the community can do, or that the council can aid in helping that problem go a little bit smoother. For lack of better terms, it does seem like a lot of the runaround, and there are deadlines and things that quite often are missed. And in our event, when we've had those issues missed and properties have been lost, we've gotten very sincere apologies at the front desk. However, it just seems to be, once again, hey, this is city, you need to go to county, or hey, this is county, you need to go to city. And I'm just wondering if there's any type of policies or anything that you can put in place to help that transition go a lot smoother. Because we are talking about people's homes. It's not something as simple as, a city fine or something that can be removed. You're talking about taxes on properties that eventually, in that 2-year window of filling out appeals, properties can be lost.
1 minute, sir.
And so I'm just very concerned and wanted to bring that to the council as I've met with several members individually of the council, just looking maybe to bring some consensus and unity onto that issue.
Thank you.
My name is Patty Russworm. I'm at 1411 Northside Boulevard. I just had South Bend 46615. I had a question about the ordinance 09-13. I thought that was going to be discussed tonight, but I didn't get the minutes of the meeting about the chronic property.
That was continued until May 8th.
Oh, it was.
13th, excuse me.
So I just did have a few questions. Should I just fill out that form then for them to be? But one big question that I have, being a owner of multi-unit property, if it's a 44-unit property, would that be considered each time there's a police call or something? Is that one time for the whole property, or is that one time per unit? Which was a big question, but I'll fill out the form.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we are adjourned.
It's per building.